Greetings. My name is Louise Dente. I'm the executive producer of the groundbreaking series Cultural Caravan TV that has been showcased on over 13 seasons, 13 years over in NYCLife channel 25 and 22. During this time, we've had a chance to introduce you, our audience, to a wide variety of people, places, and people and different opportunities to explore the world from your living room. And one of the things that we have been so proud of is the fact that it's really brought people together. The program is viewed by a very diverse audience. It's an opportunity for us to really focus in on the contributions of people of African ancestry to this world, and also to learn a lot about each other. We've had wonderful conversations over the last 13 seasons here. We've had a chance to experience the power of African dance, and we've had the chance to explore the power of African arts and culture. And we've had the opportunity to learn from some of the most phenomenal scholars on the globe here, some based in New York and other places. And we really wanted to say that although it's going to be it's always sad to make a change, but change is good also. So as much as we enjoyed our stay here and we appreciated the opportunity to work with NYC Media, we also look forward to opportunities to further grow and expand our reach throughout. And we would love to let you know what's next for Cultural Caravan. So as I say, today will be the last new broadcast here on Channel 25. However, we are expanding Cultural Caravan, the Cultural Caravan Network, which will be a full service station, online station, which will feature a lot of different things. In addition to Cultural Caravan programming, we also will be debuting other programs from other creative minds, as well as putting together a real centered experience, exploring the world, again, from your living room. We have an opportunity for you to download this new program from your phone, from your iPhone or your Android phone, by visiting the Play stores from the respective places, the Play Store, and downloading Cultural Caravan app. And there you will find some of the familiar programs as well as some new programs that we are debuting. In addition to that, Roku TV, which we've had here for quite a while. Roku TV is another option. If those of you who have Roku TV, you can download the Cultural Caravan app on Roku TV. You can also continue to see some episodes of Cultural Caravan on youtube.com by putting in either on the search engine Louise Dente or ccptv.org. C like cat, C like cookie, P like Paul, T like Tom, V like Victor.org. And you can see some of our existing shows there. And also, we continue to have programming on community access TV stations, Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as well as Brooklyn Community Access TV. So we have lots of ways in which you can continue to watch Cultural Caravan's wonderful award-winning programming. And we hope that you continue to do so. Even though we're not going to be showcased here, we will be showcased other places, as I just mentioned. And we want you to keep up with us. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at louisedente.com, if you have any questions or about anything that we are doing or would like to plan to do. We're also going to be looking for new programming to add to our existing programming. So if you are a programmer, a producer out there, and you have programming that's in alignment with what we have, for those of you who've been watching the show, feel free to contact me. So that is some of the things happening. We are again so honored by the possibility, by the opportunity that we've had for the past 13 years and continue to do so. We are also producing films. Many of you know that we have two award-winning films that we have produced over the last few years, one of which is AJAZ, Pioneers of the Black is Beautiful movement, which is a multi-award winning national as well as internationally award-winning film, as well as a newer film, which is African history, African American history and heritage, the struggle for cultural expression. And we look forward to also getting that one out. So please continue to tune in to Cultural Caravan, the movement Cultural Caravan. And you were with us through that whole process. And we thank you and commend you for being part of our journey.
Welcome to Cultural Caravan, a journey across time, continents, and creativity. From the heart of Africa to the soul of America, we celebrate the brilliance, resilience, and boundless spirit of Black history and culture. Before there were borders, before there were books, there was Africa, the cradle of civilization. Cultural Caravan allowed the viewers to see, hear, and experience culture such as dancing and art.
Maya,
every carving, canvas, and crafted mask lies a story, not just of ancestors, but of an enduring aesthetic that has influenced the world. Cultural Caravan has brought many historians who has embellished not only on the history of Africa, but also revealing hidden histories, stories, and cultures.
Well, you know, I look at culture, and again, I use the work of Dr. Wade Nobles, brilliant educational psychologist. And he says that culture is the vast structures of behaviors, ideas, attitudes, ceremonies, rituals, people that we value, things that we value in our life. And since African folk were taken from Africa, and someone else's culture was superimposed over theirs, we have to get back to culture. Dr. Cheikh Anta Diop, a brilliant Senegalese scholar, mathematician, linguist, he even tested the melanin content in the mummies of the pharaohs and found out that they in fact were black. They were African people, well melanated. He says that when a people who wish to oppress another people look to see how to do it, they take three things from them. They take their history, they take their language, and they take away their psychological factor. And that psychological factor really is at the foundations of what culture is. And our attempt is to develop a curriculum that has an African cultural common sense. And that is why culture becomes so important, because Dr. Wade Nobles teaches us that culture is to a human what water is to a fish. There is no part of us that does not relate back to the culture of one's particular group that they come from. And as an African people, we have had that taken from us. And we are now acting in ways that are not very much like us, because we are not thinking the way we should be thinking. We are not knowing what we should know. And so what we're attempting to do is to develop a curriculum and to develop a paradigm, an outline for African people, particularly our children, but our people in general.
And today we're going to be talking about your book on American fascism and Lawrence Dennis, one of its leaders in the early period. I found this book absolutely fascinating on two levels, on the story of American fascism and almost the oddest leader that they could have picked to lead it. Tell us about Lawrence Dennis.
Well, Lawrence Dennis was born a Negro in the late 1890s. His father was of European extraction, and as the picture shows, Lawrence Dennis was rather light-skinned. But as you know, given the peculiar rules defining, quote, race in the United States, the so-called one-drop rule, that is to say, you can look like George W. Bush, but if you have the faintest hint of African ancestry, that means that you're black.
You're rich.
And certainly his mother was of African origin. And so he was defined as black. But as so often happened during that time period, he decided to pass, quote unquote. That is to say, he decided to cross the color line. Because it's hard out here being a Negro, particularly in Georgia, where he was born, which was a land that was pockmarked with lynchings and all manner of brutality. And so at a certain point, he decided to pass. And he wound up going to Harvard University. And after graduating from Harvard, he was part of the U.S. State Department. And in fact, in the U.S. State Department, he was part of the crew that helped to destabilize Nicaragua under Sandinista rule. After that, he migrated to Wall Street, where he became a leading member of the investor elite, by the way, all the time passing as white. But it's very interesting, as I tell the story, as fascism began to rise in the 1920s with Mussolini and the 1930s with Hitler in Germany, he came to the conclusion that fascism was the wave of the future. And he based that in part on his experience with racism in the United States of America. And as a number of recent books have suggested, the Nazis in Berlin oftentimes studied the experience in North America. In fact, as you probably know, Adolf Hitler, not least in Mein Kampf, and in other writings, when he looked at the United States and he saw how European migrants moved steadily westward, expropriating and liquidating Native Americans and taking their land, and then enslaving Africans in the process, he had the idea that Germany should move east, particularly into the then Soviet Union,
Right.
and take the land and liquidate those who resided there to give living space to Germans and other so-called Aryans.
Right.
And Lawrence Dennis felt that that was the wave of the future, because after all, it did happen in North America from his reading, from his telling. And so he became the leader, not the least the intellectual leader of U.S. fascism in the United States of America.
Slavery ended in New York in 1827, but prior to that time, conditions were really dire for the African American community, which amounted to roughly around 12,000 in Manhattan. Now, Manhattan was just New York City. And the way they live in lower Manhattan, the areas today around the courthouses. And at that time, there was a lot of segregation. They were off limits for things like the theater, public conveyances. If they rode on public conveyances, usually they had to stand. They couldn't sit inside, regardless of the weather conditions. Schools were segregated, so were the churches. And consequently, many times they live in areas of alleys. Now, lower Manhattan, if you go through there today, you will see alleyways. And they had like hovels, these sort of huts in the alleyways. So these were bad conditions for health. A lot of times you had pollution from animals. And so consequently, diseases such as consumption, diphtheria, and others were plaguing this African American community. Now, once slavery ended, conditions did not change. It didn't necessarily mean equality. It just meant that people were no longer the property of someone else. So they continued to go to segregated schools. But this community, around 12,000 people, began to build for themselves. They started we call benevolent societies or mutual relief societies. They had burial societies. They started their own churches. And they started their own newspaper, Freedom's Journal, in 1827. So what we have at this time, we have children who, because of necessities of life, some of these children were abandoned by parents. Some were enslaved children who were deposited here as their families are running away from the South. And so there was a need for some kind of caretaking institution. So the African American community lacked the resources to do this themselves.
Hi, I'm Leslie Uggams, and you're watching Cultural Caravan TV. It's the best.
This is Cultural Caravan, where the past is never forgotten, where the present honors the journey, and where the future walks boldly in its footsteps. The Cultural Caravan TV series will continue to air on our independently operated Cultural Caravan network, accessible by downloading the Cultural Caravan app on your phone through the Google Play Store for Android or the Apple App Store for iOS. On Roku TV, you can download the Cultural Caravan app from the search bar in Roku TV. You can still see some prior programs on YouTube.com by entering the following in the search bar: ccptv.org, Louise Dente. For further information, email us at louisedente@gmail.com for opportunities to showcase your content on our network. Thank you for supporting our programming for 13 years.